So here we go again with another rumor about Star Trek not being dead. It's up in the air about what series would happen and what films and whatnot. And there's been some claims that all the film projects were scrapped and it was dead in the water. And then I guess Paramount responded, no, it's still very much alive and all this stuff. And they've never said that they're done with the TV shows, but boy, they're just, it's really bad. But anyway, quite a few in the works, a Pike series and Section 31 and all that stuff. But another one that had been mentioned was I can't remember if it was supposed to be a series or just a film or a mini-series or something along those lines about Khan. And so here, the latest rumor is that they really want this actor here to portray the role, Dev Patel from Slumdog Millionaire. And, well, at least he would finally be of someone of the right ethnic descent that Khan was supposed to have. I mean, Ricardo Montalban is best known for the role, but yeah, he's not from India. But then, of course, neither was Cumberbatch, and what the hell was that? Of course, that was originally supposed to be Benicio del Toro, who backed out of the role, probably from reading the script for Star Trek Into Darkness. So, gee, it couldn't be worse than that, could it? Well, yes, it could, considering the current crop of producers and whatnot from Secret Hideout and Kurtzman in charge of Star Trek projects. So, not too optimistic on that side. But a Khan series was talked about early on, and this is a rumor discussed at Bounding in the Comics via who's originally a news outlet called the Vulcan Reporter and writer Emery Akaya. So, well, there's some amount of credibility to this, and that yes, they're seeking an actor of Indian descent, which makes sense, to play the genetically engineered superhuman. And though auditions are currently being held, so if they're currently auditioning for the role, then this is really up and running a lot more than the other series like Pike, and certainly I don't think Section 31 is happening at all. And so there's a bit dubious on that, but apparently the idea that they would even go to the trouble of casting, and that the guy they really want is Patel, but maybe he's not interested and they'll have to go with someone else. But maybe he's like the model for what they're looking for in the role. So it gives you a little detail about his background and his performance in Slumdog Millionaire, Last Airbender, Lion, and all that stuff. So, but apparently another role is that he'll be Sir Gawain in a King Arthur movie. So, boy, round and round we go with this nonsense. So in a lot of ways, Khan, well, would be the better role, depending on how they do this story. It goes into, they talk about, yes, it was first hinted about Nicholas Meyer coming in, who was famous for the Star Trek II Wrath of Khan film that he directed. And the series was going to be called SETI Alpha 5, which was the planet that Kirk marooned Khan and his crew on. And that it would detail his adventures on that planet in between the time between Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. Gotta say, I was not all that interested in a story like that. My interest would be more in a story about young Khan in the eugenics wars, and that the series would really be more about the eugenics wars. And you remember those wars in the 1990s? That's when it's supposed to have taken place. So Star Trek already, you have to accept, is an alternate history. So it's already an alternate universe from the get-go. But anyway, that is what I, would be more interested in. But then again, who's to know? It could be a great idea that he had, but I think that's probably all been scrapped. Because since then, he did this interview with Nicholas Meyer, did an interview with Nicholas Meyer, with Midnight's Edge. And it was interesting because it sort of described how mismanaged the whole franchise is. But it says, it's been up in the air, explained Meyer. Partially, there was a lot of confusion between CBS. I guess so. And there were big upheavals at CBS. Yeah. And while they sort of didn't know who was in charge, They also didn't know what they were going to do with SETI Alpha 5. I'm not exactly sure what's happened. I haven't heard from them in some time, so... yeah, they don't know what they're doing with Star Trek overall, and boy, does it show. So maybe this version of it is not going to happen, but they still want to do a con series, and so off they'll go. And so now, however, in 2020, Vulcan reporter alleged that CBS had resumed production in the prequel series. So perhaps it's more of that. It takes place on Earth in his rise to power, and I think Khan ultimately dominated Asia in that time period before he was overthrown, and had to escape into deep space and to go into hibernation, only to be awakened by Kirk centuries later. So that could be interesting, but unfortunately Star Trek is still under more or less control of secret hideout at Kurtzman's company, so that doesn't bode well. I would hope that they wouldn't do something stupid where there's like an ancestor of Kirk is the main adversary for Khan. Yeah, don't do that. Although it would be kind of interesting after it's all over and he escapes into space, and then everything goes to black, and then it shows him waking up, and then you have a deep faked William Shatner on an actor's face of Kirk waking him up, and that's how it ends. I'd be all right with that. But the problem is, I know very little about this actor. He does have a good look to him, and we could probably fill the role that way. But it's just the people who are in charge with the story. That's what matters. And it's the same crew. So my advice to Mr. Patel here is run very fast. Unless there's a new crew in charge. It's got someone like Ronald Moore writing it or something. Oh, well, that would be interesting. But beyond that, yeah, not too optimistic about it. But it does go to show that they're apparently, according to this rumor, that there's action on this. So that's a lot more than I've heard of other ideas for future Star Trek shows, including the Strange New Worlds with Captain Pike series. It's got a title. They had them in their virtual con, all the actors talking about it, but that's about it. Whereas this sounds like something is afoot, if you will. Or it could all just be nothing. So anyway, there it is. I'm not all that excited about Khan series because, and this is again one of my hesitance about this, because it's got to be the same people in charge. That was Discovery and Picard, which was awful, and that they keep going to Khan as if Khan is like Darth Vader is to Star Wars. He's not. He was a villain. He got two different adventures. He got the Space Seed and he got Wrath of Khan. And spoilers, he dies at the end of that one. So his story is over as far as that. The only thing left to tell would be, well, what was the Eugenics Wars like? SETI Alpha 5, I don't know. But then again, I don't know what exactly was supposed to have happened on it. And that's it. He's not a recurring. The only recurring villain they had was Harry Mudd in the old show. There's plenty of villains to be had in Star Trek. The Klingons were pretty much the main villains for the most part, the Romulans, and then of course later on the Borg, stuff like that. But as far as this personal arch nemesis type thing, as if Khan was that to Kirk, not really. And that's kind of the approach that Bad Robot and Secret Hideout have for this, which led to the crap that was Star Trek Into Darkness. And so to pursue that yet again, I am not optimistic and probably is a mistake. So as it stands, unless some other creative crew comes in to take it over, and that would be otherwise, yeah, Patel, just you might want to pass on this. So there you go. Not optimistic about the Khan series.
All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Slay. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores and have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.